4 types of context clues. Figuring out the meanings of unfamiliar words by looking at the words around them or at the passage in general is called using context clues. Context means the environment that something occurs in. If you noticed, I just defined context for you. Okay? Often, we can get a general sense of the meaning of a word by understanding what's around it. Basically, context clues can be broken into 4 types. Okay, and we will be looking at each of these 4 types. So the first type is examples. The second type, synonyms. The third type, antonyms. And the fourth type is the general sense. Of the passage. PSG, short for passage. Let's look at them. So the first type is examples. Okay? And sometimes you'll see a sentence where the examples are provided with these nice clues like, for example. Okay, now we're going to use words that you already know or probably already know, because then you can see how the structure of the sentences supports the definitions. So the first example that we have of an example is this. It was obvious that both men were angry. For example, John stood with his arms crossed, his muscles tight, while Joe stared darkly at everyone. Now, let's say that you're a beginning English learner and you don't know what angry means. Well, the words right after it, for example, tell us that you're going to see some instances of what this word means. So if you think in your mind about someone who's standing with tight muscles, okay, tense muscles, and the arms crossed in front of him across his chest, and the other person who's staring very unhappily at everyone, well, you can get a good idea that the word angry means being mad. Now, sometimes you can have a situation where examples are given, but the clue, for example, is missing. So here are the same 2 sentences. The only thing that's different is that it's missing that for example. But you can still understand from the way the sentences are done that angry is being illustrated by the crossed arms, the tight muscles, and the dark stares. And that's what an example is. Now let's look at the second type, which is a synonym. Okay. And a synonym is a word or expression that are the same or similar. Okay, so synonyms, here's a definition of a synonym. Words or expressions that are the same or similar. So here's the word that we're going to pretend you don't know. Reveal. Okay. He would never reveal our secret. Well, what does reveal mean? If we look at the next sentence, it says, he doesn't tell people things that aren't their business. If you don't reveal, you don't tell. Okay, so reveal and tell have the same or similar meanings, and they are synonyms. The third type of clue is an antonym. And antonyms are words that are the opposite meanings. So synonyms are the same, and antonyms have the opposite meaning. So we'll use this same word again, reveal. He would never reveal his feelings. Well, what does that mean? Instead, he hides them deep within himself. Okay? So this word here gives us a clue because instead means the opposite. So he doesn't do something, he does the opposite. The opposite of reveal is hide. Okay, finally, we come to the fourth type, the general sense of the passage. And here's a quotation from Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. And Lewis Carroll is the man who wrote Alice in Wonderland. If you're not familiar with the book, you may be familiar with the movie, but it was before it was a movie, it was a book. Okay, and let's say that you don't know the meaning of this word here, beware. Now, this is a nonsense poem, and so Jabberwock, well, we don't really know what Jabberwock is, but it's a creature. We can figure that out too. But let's think about beware. Okay, beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Even if you don't know the meaning of beware, you could think about what would make sense in this passage. And what would it make sense for you to do with something that has jaws that bite, claws that catch? Is this something that you think it would be a good idea to hug or kiss or to talk to? Probably not. We hope not anyway. Either that or you have a very strong sense of daring. But would it make sense to be careful around it? Sure it would. And from that reasoning, we can say that beware means be careful. Be careful of the Jabberwock, my son. It has jaws that bite, and it has claws that can catch you and scratch you. Okay? Remember, you don't need to know the exact meaning of every word or expression to understand the general meaning of a passage. You can get a good approximation of a definition when you're reading by using context clues. Use a dictionary only when it's absolutely necessary, or after you finish reading. You can always go back to those words that you want to know better.